techniques of this course. So if you remember earlier in this course we have discussed how to change your IP address or how to hide your IP address. Then we discussed MAC spoofing. Then today we have discussed email spoofing and SMS spoofing as well. Now while we are talking about spoofing, I'll also like to mention something known as a disposable email service. A disposable email service is basically a service where you are given a temporary email account which you can use for a few days or a few weeks or a few months, after which automatically that email account will get deleted. So there will be no trace left behind of that email account. So if you remember that website, hidemyass.com, they have this service of anonymous email that you can actually use to, number one, protect your privacy. So a lot of times, some companies or some telemarketing companies will ask you for your email address. And if you don't want to reveal your real email address, you can create a temporary email address using hidemyass.com and you can give that email address to them. Or if you're planning to commit some kind of crime, imagine you're a terrorist and you just want to use a temporary email account for some time, then you can create your own anonymous email account using hidemyass.com. So if all of you look at the screen, you just have to fill up this form to create that fake anonymous account, and then you need to select in how much time you want this account to expire. So the expiration date could be within 24 hours, or it could be within 7 days, 1 month, 6 months, or 12 months. It's completely up to you. And it's a free service, and it's commonly used by a lot of criminals who want to send some kind of, messages to victims and so on. So that's another way of, it's not exactly spoofing, but it's more of hiding your identity or hiding who you are. So if you create a fake account or an anonymous account using HideMyass, you can always use a proxy server to check your email, so which will also hide your IP address. So not only are you using a disposable email account, at the same time you are ensuring that your IP address remains hidden. So let's quickly move on to the next demonstration of the day, which is of another very interesting technique that allows you as a criminal to hack into somebody else's computer. And the technique is actually something that I'm sure all of you would have heard about before. Some of you would have used this as well in the past. It's actually one of the simplest ways of hacking into somebody else's computer and controlling their computer. If you remember at the beginning of this course, I had shared with you an example of the Mumbai lady who was chatting on the internet. Somebody hacked into her computer, infected her computer with a Trojan, and then used the Trojan to switch her web camera on. So finally, we have reached a point in this AFCH course where I will be discussing Trojans. So what exactly are Trojans and what makes them so dangerous? Trojans are basically rats or remote administration tools that give an attacker remote control or remote access to the victim's computer. In other words, imagine that I am a criminal and you're the victim. Imagine we live in different parts of the world. I live in New York, you live in Mumbai. And sitting in New York, I want to control your computer here in Mumbai. How do I do that? That's exactly where Trojans come into the picture. Once a criminal has infected your computer with a Trojan, sitting in any part of the world, the criminal can remotely control all hardware and all software on your computer. For example, if you're trying to move your mouse towards the right, I can make it move towards the left, remotely from some other part of the world. If you're trying to type A, B, and C on your computer, I can type PQR on your computer. If you're listening to music, I can increase the volume, I can decrease the volume, I can change the song that you're listening to. I can download files from your computer, upload files to your computer, delete files, and pretty much do absolutely anything else that I wish to do on your computer. So Trojans are extremely dangerous software, and once your computer gets infected with a Trojan, the criminal has complete control over everything that exists on your computer. So at this point of time, I would like to give to all of you a demonstration of one of the oldest examples of a Trojan. And later on in this course, I'll be showing you how to create your own Trojan as well that does not get detected by antivirus software, whereas no countermeasures, that have no solutions at all. So today is just the fundamental lecture on Trojans, and then we'll be slowly building on that and discussing more advanced undetectable Trojans as well. So Trojans have actually been around for a very long time. And some of the oldest or classic examples of Trojans, which were very popular and still are the following. You have net bus, back orifice, sub 7, I'll repeat, net bus, back orifice, sub 7, girlfriend, don't get too excited, it's just a software, and Win backdoor. So net bus, back orifice, sub 7, girlfriend, and Win backdoor. And all these Trojans are available as a free download on the internet. If you do a quick Google search, you will be able to download all these Trojans from the internet. So let me now give you a demonstration of what a Trojan looks like and how you can use a Trojan to control somebody else's computer. But before I give you the live demonstration, let me actually show you the steps involved in using a Trojan. So step number 1 is that basically every Trojan has two parts. So you have an attacker part, and then you have a victim part. So the attacker part of the Trojan, you have to install on your own computer, that is the attacker's computer. And the victim part of the Trojan, you need to install on the victim's computer. So once you've downloaded a Trojan, the Trojan has two parts, the attacker part and the victim part. Step 1 is that you need to infect victim computer with Trojan. That is the victim part of the Trojan. So step 1 is you infect the victim's computer with the Trojan. How to do that? Don't worry about it right now. Just understand the steps, see the demonstration, and then one by one we'll be discussing every step in detail. So step number 1 is infect the victim with the Trojan. Step number 2 is find out IP address of victim. And already in this course we have seen maybe 4 or 5 different ways in which you can find out the victim's IP address. Step number 3, open attacker part of Trojan on your computer. And step number 4, use IP address of victim to connect to victim's computer and start controlling it. As simple as that. So 4 simple steps. Step number 1, you got to infect the victim's computer with a Trojan. Step number 2, you find out the IP address of the victim. Step number 3, you open the attacker part of the Trojan on your computer, that is the attacker's computer. And step number 4, you use the IP address of the victim's computer to connect your computer to the victim's computer and then start controlling that computer. So these are the 4 main steps of using a Trojan. So let me now give a demonstration to all of you of the NetBus Trojan. NetBus has been around for many years now. It's a classic example of a Trojan. And for the purpose of today's demonstration, what I've done is I have already infected my own laptop with the NetBus Trojan. So since I have only one laptop for the lecture today, I'm going to pretend that my laptop is the criminal, and I'm also going to pretend that my laptop is also the victim. So I'll simulate both sides of the attack on my own laptop. So I'm the attacker, I'm also the victim. But in reality, you can use the NetBus Trojan to control your friends' computers who may be in the same city or maybe in some other part of the world as well. So let me actually first of all open the attacker part of the Trojan on my computer. I've already infected my computer with the victim part of the Trojan. So what you're seeing on the screen now is the attacker part of the Trojan. Now, once you've opened the attacker part of the Trojan, in this space provided, you have to enter the IP address of the victim. And how do you find out the victim's IP address? We have already seen various ways in which you can do that. So right now I've just typed in my own computer's IP address in this space provided, and I press the connect button. And as soon as I press connect, in the status bar, it says connected to the victim's computer. So now that I've connected to the victim's computer, I can start using all these different buttons or options to remotely do things or remotely control the victim's computer from anywhere in the world, as long as you have successfully infected the victim's computer. For example, the first option is a very, very interesting option known as the Open CD-ROM option. Imagine that the victim is quietly sitting and doing some work on his computer. So using the Open CD-ROM option, you can suddenly open and close the victim's CD tray. So imagine how scared the victim will be if suddenly the CD tray of his or her laptop or desktop starts opening and closing on its own. And you can do that using a Trojan. Unfortunately, my laptop does not have a CD tray. Otherwise, I would have loved to show you the CD tray opening and closing as well. But all of you get the whole idea. You can try this on your own computer or on your friend's computer for fun. And try opening the victim's CD tray and closing it by just pressing this Open CD-ROM option. Next comes another very interesting option known as the Show Image option. Using the Show Image option, it is possible for you as a criminal to display embarrassing photographs or images of your choice on the victim's computer screen. And the best part is, you get to decide what kind of photographs will get displayed on the victim's computer screen. So all you got to do is click on Show Image, and in this space provided, type in the website address of the photograph or the URL or the web address or the web link of the photograph that you like to display on the victim's computer screen. Click on OK, and as soon as you click on OK, within a few seconds, that particular photograph will suddenly get displayed on the victim's computer screen from absolutely out of nowhere. And once again, the victim will have no clue as to what is going on his or her computer screen. Next comes another very interesting option known as the Swap Mouse button. Using the Swap Mouse button, as soon as you click on the Swap Mouse button on the victim's computer, left click will become right click and right click will become left click. There is also a Message Manager option available. Using the Message Manager option, you as a criminal can actually display embarrassing text messages of your choice on the victim's computer screen. Let me show you how dangerous or how much fun this particular option can be. So I'm going to press Message Manager, and in this space provided, you can actually type any message of your choice. So let me go ahead and type something like, I am watching you. I know what you did on Saturday night. And as soon as I press the Send Message button, within a few seconds, if all of you look at the screen, a pop-up dialog box will get displayed on the victim's computer screen containing the text message of your choice. And the victim will have no clue as to who is sending these messages to his or her computer screen. And a very good suggestion, a very good recommendation which I'd like to share with all of you is, before all of you try out this Message Manager option, try to do it in such a manner wherein all of you have physical eye contact with the victim. Because what will happen is, when the message pops up on the victim's computer screen, the kind of facial reactions or expressions that the victim will have will be very, very interesting. Not only that, you can even enable the let the user answer the message option. So now if you send the message to the victim, what will happen is, not only will the victim be able to see the message, but there will be a prompt where the victim can type a reply. So you can actually have a chat conversation with the victim using the message manager option. And the best part is the victim will have no clue who is sending these messages to him or her. To be honest, everything that I've shown you till now are just fun and games or pranks that you can play on somebody. Let's actually move on to a little bit more serious stuff. Imagine that you're working for a company and there is something very confidential that you're working on. Maybe it's some product design, or maybe it's in some intellectual property, or some confidential agreement, or some marketing plans, or some pricing plans, or whatever. What if a competitor is able to steal that information? A Trojan actually allows a competitor to do that. Because what the Trojan does is, there is an option known as the screen dump option. The screen dump option. Using the screen dump option, the moment the criminal clicks on this button, the Trojan will take a photograph of your computer screen, a screenshot of your computer screen, and will display it on the criminal's computer screen. So in other words, a criminal who's sitting in some other part of the world can actually see everything that you are seeing and doing on your computer screen. So imagine all your emails, your documents, your browsing history, anything else that gets displayed on your computer screen can actually be spied upon and can actually be stolen using this screen dump option. Next comes one of my all-time favorite options. It's an option known as the exit windows option, using which it is possible for you as a criminal to shut down the victim's computer, to restart the victim's computer, to log off the user, all remotely through the internet. I will obviously not show this option to you right now, because otherwise even my computer will shut down or restart or get logged off by just pressing any of these different 4 options. Next comes the send text option. Using the send text option, it is possible for you as a criminal to write things on the victim's computer. In other words, imagine that the victim is typing an important email to his boss. And what if you as a criminal, for some reason, wanted to add your own sentences or text to that email? So all you gotta do is click on send text, and in this space provided, you can type absolutely anything that comes to your mind. You don't need to censor what you're typing, and click on OK. And as soon as you click on OK, everything that I just typed in this dialog box will actually become a part of the email or chat conversation or browser window that you are working on at that given point of time. So you just got to be creative, and you can actually cause a lot of damage to the victim's reputation. You can cause a lot of problems to the victim using the send text option. Next comes a very, very interesting option. Imagine that the victim is logging into their email account. So let me try to log into my Hotmail account. So I open up my browser, connect to hotmail.com, and this is the login screen that gets displayed on my computer screen. So I'm going to type my username. My username is, say, Ankit Fadia, and my password is AFCEH12345. Right? So I typed in my username, I typed in my password, and I click on sign in. Now imagine that I am a victim. Somebody has infected my computer with a Trojan. So the next time I log into my email account, unfortunately what happens is, whatever I am typing gets recorded and the criminal can see everything that I'm typing. So if all of you look at this Trojan, the Trojan has actually recorded on the criminal's computer, the Trojan is recording everything that the victim is typing on the victim's computer. So I first opened up my browser and I typed hotmail.com. So if all of you look at the screen, hotmail.com has now been recorded. Then I typed my username, Ankit Fadia. Even my username, Ankit Fadia, got recorded and was displayed on the criminal's computer screen. And then I typed in my password, AFCEH12345. Even my password got recorded and was transmitted to the criminal's computer. So imagine, once a Trojan gets installed on the victim's computer, using the listen button or the listen option, the criminal can actually record all the keys that the victim is typing on his computer. And when I say all keys, I'm of course talking about usernames and passwords, which I just showed you, credit card numbers, bank account details, documents, emails, chat conversations, and just about anything and everything else that the victim is typing and working on his or her computer. So Trojans can be extremely dangerous software. Next comes the sound system option. Using the sound system option, the criminal can click on this record now button to remotely activate your web camera or your microphone, which is exactly what happened in the Mumbai lady case study, where somebody used the Trojan to start recording a live feed from her webcam or from her microphone. That is why a lot of the new laptops, the webcam has a small light, so you know when your camera has been switched on. Next comes another one of my all-time favorite options. It's an option known as go to URL option. Imagine that the victim is in the middle of a very important, very serious presentation like today's presentation. Or maybe the victim is in the middle of a job interview. And what if you as a criminal, for some reason, wanted to display an appropriate website of your choice on the victim's computer screen? And you get to choose what kind of educational website gets displayed on the victim's computer screen. So all you gotta do is click on go to URL, and I'm gonna type in a very educational website address into this go to URL option. The website address that I'm gonna type is www.playboy.com. And as soon as I click on OK, what will happen is on the victim's computer screen, which in this case is my own computer screen, a new browser tab will open, which will then connect to playboy.com automatically. So keep looking at the screen. As soon as I press OK, within a few seconds, playboy.com is getting displayed on my computer screen. I'm obviously not going to wait for the website to get displayed, but all of you get the whole idea. You can actually cause a lot of damage to the victim's reputation using the go to URL option. So sorry to disappoint some of you, but obviously I can't really show that website in this course, but all of you get the whole idea. You can cause a lot of damage using the go to URL option. Next comes the key manager, using which you can press keys on the victim's computer or victim's keyboard. Or you can disable keys as well. So you can disable specific keys, like the A key will stop working on the victim's computer, but all the other keys will work. Or you can simply choose to disable all the keys on the victim's keyboard so that it's completely unusable. And finally, there is a file manager, using which you can download files from the victim's computer, upload files to the victim's computer, and even delete files from the victim's computer. So as you can clearly see, Trojans are extremely, extremely dangerous software, and I'm sure that many of you are now wondering